Good afternoon. It is great to be here with you at the first ever Dell Technologies World. It's sort of hard to say that. We've been here years before, but first ever Dell Technologies World. Today, it'll be my pleasure to update you on the VMware strategy, the huge momentum in the Dell VMware partnership, to launch an expansion of our networking offerings, and hopefully have a bit of fun in our demos in the process. It is great to be here. Welcome to Dell Technologies World. This is year 38 for me in technology. And as we've said, this idea of technology breaking out of tech. As Michael shared this picture earlier today, IT is driving transformation across multiple dimensions. Digital transformation, how to build and deploy applications. IT, how to restructure and embrace the cloud. Workforce transformation, the productivity of the most important resource, your people. And finally, security, protecting your assets and reputation. And this morning, we're going to describe how VMware plays a critical role in each of these as part of the Dell Technologies family. And one of the messages I clearly want to get across today is better together. Right? Simply put, in every area of VMware innovation, we are better together as part of the Dell Technologies family. And we'll touch on that as we go through today in the products and solutions that we're building together and how we're going to market to service you, our mutual customers, more effectively, and our support and operations, all in collaboration with you to overcome business barriers and propel your success. VMware, we've taken this view that we need to innovate and increase the speed of our innovation. And it's not just in our R&D. Clearly, you think of your R&D function as innovate and everything, but in how we sell, how we support, embracing new approaches, and as I like to call it, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, pushing the edge of what we're aware of. And this has become our mantra inside of VMware. Simply put, innovate in everything. The VMware vision is summarized in this picture. Our vision and strategy at VMware in a nutshell is any device, any application on any cloud. And in the course of our keynote time today, we're going to unpack each layer of this. Any device, how we embrace a breadth of devices and make them more secure, but also more effective and productive. Any application, both the old, the SaaS, as well as the new, and any cloud, enabling a broader range of infrastructure. And we are out to enable this vision as we work to become the essential, ubiquitous, digital foundation to drive your business forward. So let's start by looking at the any device, any application part of this equation. Now, for every one of us, you realize that the most valuable resource you've got as your source of innovation, the number one impact on customer satisfaction is your employees. And if you have satisfied employees, they are the heart of digital transformation. This idea of digital transformation, right, ultimately is about your employee productivity. But ultimately, making them more productive, enabling a more flexible user experience almost always comes at the expense of security. So how can we put these two worlds together? And we'll simply describe that as yin versus yang. Right? In this ancient Chinese symbol of yin versus yang, I need to be secure, but I also want to enable these new user experiences. In fact, research has shown that over 70% of all breaches have some beginning point at the edge, at the end user, a phishing attack, a weak perimeter, a hijacked device. So we want to give a consumer simple experience so they can do their best work, but we can't do that without addressing the security environment. And too often, security gets in the way of delivering that great employee experience. Ultimately, Workspace ONE is about this consumer simple experience. It's about bringing not less security, but enabling these experiences, these applications, modern management. And that's where Workspace ONE comes to play. This is how I run VMware. And literally on my cell phone, we have the seamless experience where I'm getting my applications cultured by my IT department, and I'm getting real-time access, single sign-on to all of my applications, to our enterprise apps, as well as to our SaaS applications. I'm going real-time online to my SAP, to my CRM environment. So a modern, flexible, empower user experience, but we also need to address the IT requirements, modern management, insights, and automation. This is how we operate. This is what Workspace ONE enables. And partnering with Dell, we're expanding this into modern Dell clients and bringing together the yin and the yang. Let's dive deeper and look at Workspace ONE and how we've brought these two worlds together. And to help us do that, please welcome to the stage Jason Rozak, part of our end user computing business unit. Jason? Jason, come on out here.
How are you?
Very good, Jason. Thank you. And, we've talked about the importance of the user experience, but, let's start at the beginning, right? Pretend, a day one employee shows up, right? And, their first day on the job is crappy. How can we make this a great experience at that day one, and how are VMware and Dell working to change that day one experience?
Absolutely, Pat. By working closely with Dell, we can now pre-configure Dell hardware with Workspace ONE so that our end users can very quickly get access to all of their applications and services to get up and running.
Can you show us?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see what this looks like on a brand new Dell laptop. Here I've got a brand new Dell PC. It's pre-configured with Workspace ONE, never been touched by my IT. I simply power it on and enter my work credentials. From there, Workspace ONE fully provisions the device based off who I am in my organization. Once my device is set up, in the background, Workspace ONE applies my company security and management policies. Now inside my workspace, I have access to all of my applications and services. And then with single sign-on and per-app VPN, I no longer have to remember all those complex, pesky passwords.
Well, that's pretty impressive, Jason.
Much better than what we have today, for sure.
Yeah, indeed. So, my laptop, boom, credential, Workspace ONE pulls down, updated portfolio, operating systems, patches, applications, appropriate to every business environment. Pretty impressive. But, I got another problem, Jason. I'm a multi-device guy. Right, as well, and can I do this across all of my devices?
Yeah, great question, Pat. The way we work is changing. Our employees are more mobile than ever before. They're accessing all sorts of applications across all sorts of devices. With Workspace ONE, we can deliver that same out-of-box type experience on your mobile devices as well.
So, again, can you show me how this works?
Yeah, let's see it live. Here I've got a brand new iPhone. An employee can use a company-provided phone, or they can bring their own personal device. They simply download the Workspace ONE application, authenticate with the same credentials they used on their PC. From there, Workspace ONE starts the configuration process of my iPhone. It applies all of my policies required to securely access my workspace. And see, this is the same workspace we had on our PC. All of my apps and services right here on my mobile device. Same single sign-on, no credentials here either.
Very impressive. So across all of my devices, and Workspace ONE has by far the broadest set of devices and operating systems of any solution in the industry. So, we've gone a long way to boost the yang, but, we got the yin to worry about as well. What about the consistent management security environment for IT and, the world that these folks live in so often?
Yeah, great question. It's all about the yin, Pat. So with Workspace ONE, we have a new intelligence and automation platform where you can make sure all of your devices are securely configured regardless of what type of device it is.
So that sounds pretty good, but there's lots of nasty headlines out there, WannaCry, specters, meltdowns. Yep. Can you help me with these problems?
Yeah, so it's a great point, Pat. We see that attackers today, they're not just going after vulnerabilities in applications. They're also targeting vulnerabilities in the operating system as well as the firmware below it. So one of the really unique things we've done is we've taken the Dell Client Command Suite, which manages all the hardware on the Dell laptop, and integrated into our Workspace ONE intelligence engine. So now through automation, we can make sure that your Dell PCs are always up to date, from the firmware through the OS through the application layer.
Okay, show me.
Let's see a demo. Here we've got our Workspace ONE console, where our administrator can see an overview of the health of their environment. Here, Workspace ONE has identified a new critical vulnerability, in this scenario, WannaCry. Immediately, the system takes action to create an automation that will start the remediation process across all of your impacted devices. From our automations dashboard, we can drill in and see the progress of the remediation over time. If we switch from our console to an end-user view, we can see how we can use this vulnerability to apply conditional access to resources. Here we've detected a critical vulnerability, and in the background, we start the remediation process, in this scenario, applying the patch for WannaCry to bring the machine back to a healthy state. Once the machine is again healthy, our user is whitelisted, they've got access to their applications, and can go back to work as normal.
Very good. So it isn't just management and security, but it's also the automation environment to go with it. Wow, this is incredible, Jason. We've seen the power of Dell and VMware coming together, improving the yin and the yang. Right, you've done a great job. Thank you so much for it.
Thanks,
Jason.
Pat.
Very good. So our objective, Dell and VMware, is to accelerate workforce transformation, to bring the award-winning Dell client solutions combined with services, support, security, and financial services, and combine that with the industry-leading and award-winning Workspace ONE, unified endpoint management, a complete set of mobile as well as desktop solutions, virtual as well as physical VDI, a complete set of those solutions, combining together the recognized leaders to deliver workforce transformation. Now, it's not just about human-connected devices, but what about machine-connected devices? And where are the devices that are talking to each other, and what can we do in those areas? And to me, if we take a step back, my short 38 years in technology, we've seen these swings of technology. As we think about those swings of technology over time, we see forces of centralization and forces of decentralization occurring. And we've been in the era of the cloud where there's been a force of centralization, more efforts going to bring and consolidate workload into the cloud. But edge and IoT is a force of decentralization. And we're going to see over the next decade or two that the world becomes more distributed and more hybrid. As we've seen these trends from mainframe mini to internet over time, we see that this pendulum has swung back and forth. Edge and IoT, a powerful force that's just beginning to emerge that will drive more resources and capabilities to the edge. IoT is a critical force in this emerging world. IoT is where the digital world meets the physical world. And we believe we're just getting started with IoT. And the benefits of IoT will be across essentially every industry. And essentially every aspect of every industry will see dramatic innovation over the next decade plus. And as IoT accelerates, Dell Technologies is uniquely positioned to help you participate and capitalize. We've launched the IoT division that brings together the capabilities of all 6 sister companies, all the building blocks of IoT, from security to software to automation to edge devices and gateways. Ray O'Farrell, the CTO for VMware, wears a second hat. I only give him 1 salary, but I give him 2 jobs. And he has a second hat wearing as the general manager of our IoT division for Dell Technologies. And on Wednesday morning, you're going to hear directly from Ray about the work that we're doing. And I just encourage you, don't miss the main stage keynote of Ray as he gives you the vision of IoT, moving from human-connected to machine-connected world. So we've covered the any device, and let's dig into the any app part of our strategy. And ultimately, why do we do infrastructure? It's ultimately to enable new applications and services. That's the purpose behind building and running infrastructure, the lifeblood of every business. But unfortunately, we see this gap Down here is the infrastructure team, and over there is those crazy application folk, right? And they're trying to get certain things done and really don't understand the operational and security and management challenges. And ultimately, that gap slows down and creates political silos and separations. So how can we help close that gap? How can we bring these two worlds together? How can we not only bring them together, but increase the speed of that environment as well? And every business today sees the need for speed to go faster. Build apps, test them, put them in production, and update them as rapidly as possible. And ultimately, IT wants to do the same thing. But IT can't just say, we're going to do that willy-nilly. We need to do that also meeting the security, stability, the infrastructure, and resilience requirements as well. A few years ago, as the container discussion began, it was this discussion of VMs versus containers. That debate is over. It's a world of VMs and containers. That's our future. The #1 company in containers, arguably, is Google. Google runs 100% of their containers in VMs. Containers are efficient, lightweight, and portable. Their value proposition is aimed to the app and the developer. However, they're inadequate to meet the infrastructure and operations requirements. The ugly truth is, cool new apps are also a combination of cool new container stuff and interacting with existing services from the existing environments as well. Ultimately, we're about enabling the big easy button to bridge these two worlds together, to enable the container world of tomorrow and to operationalize that in a consistent infrastructure. Containers and VMs speed time to market, bridge the old and the new without compromising security and management. This is what drove us to launch PKS. The VMware Pivotal Container Service is about bringing the best of both worlds. It's about giving that container environment that your developers want while solving the operational requirements of putting them into production for IT as well. A developer-ready infrastructure that's production-ready. Ability to continue delivering apps on a single platform. Google, Pivotal, and VMware announced at VMworld last year this coming together to enable PKS, or the Pivotal Container Service, built on Google Kubernetes, container management, the de facto standard in the environment, Pivotal BOSH for day 1, day 2 deployment and automation, and VMware NSX, bringing together security and networking, all on a common VMware SDDC cloud environment. We've seen huge customer interest in the 8 months since we've launched this service. But to help me talk about it, I'd like to welcome to the stage none other than Chad Sackett. Please join me in welcoming Chad to the stage. Chad? Now, Chad, I got a problem. You're like virtual geek. You're like the storage guy. What on earth is going on here?
Okay.
Right? Aren't anything inviolate?
So, Pat, you can't do that because I also have a mic.
Yeah?
So I looked up, you and I have been working together now for 10 years.
10 years, man. You were younger then.
I had more hair, but you were younger too.
So talk to us about this, right? You've made an extraordinary, everybody here knows virtual geek, storage guy, Chad, but you've moved to the application world at Pivotal. Help us. What's going on, man?
So my passion inside the Dell Technologies family has always been the intersection of technology. So I think that that's where the magic happens for the customers. Making Dell EMC storage be the best for VMware.
Okay.
So VIA, VASA, plugins for vCenter. Then the next stage was how do we bring compute, network, and storage together in the industry's best HCI?
Okay, I'm going to touch on that today.
And I'm sure you will. I can't wait to see.
Making you proud, I promise.
That's good. The next thing here is how do we bring together Pivotal and VMware's technologies to kind of move the container ecosystem forward? And it's really exciting, man. It's awesome stuff.
Well, it's great to have you in this capacity. I'm sure you're going to be passionate and enthusiastic here.
There's only one gear in the Chad gearbox.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that. So, I was describing this PKS picture here, but there's also PCF, and tell me how these two worlds fit together.
Yeah, so earlier you said any app, any device, any cloud, right? In the world of these new cloud-native applications, they like different types of abstractions. Sometimes a customer says, I'm just going to give you my code, and I want you to figure out all the details. Here's my code. I want you to run it in the cloud. I don't care how. In that environment, this idea of the pivotal application services suits those customers generally when they're building a brand new cloud-native app, or they're going to take an existing application and completely rebuild it. And the customers that do that are legion. They love it. It's great. But the realization that we came to together is that there's a huge community of applications that can just be containerized. In that case, the app owner comes and says, I'm giving you my container image. I want you to run it, and I don't care how. And being able to support both of those abstractions on one common platform is something that's very unique to what we're doing. And notice in this picture, they have a very common base. So Bosch brings the simplicity to Kubernetes that Kubernetes brings to containers. It makes lifecycle management simple and easy. NSXT solves one of the biggest container and cloud-native problems, which is their networking stack is relatively primitive, and NSXT is awesome. And all of that always on that VMware SDDC base.
Well, that's very exciting, Chad. And clearly, since we announced this partnership,
Yep.
and clearly, we're part of the same family, so we were sort of working together. But, since we've announced PKS and the coming together of this offering, I'll just say customers have really, really gotten excited about it. The full support and power of Dell Technologies family, but really VMware and Pivotal sharing that point of the arrow. It's just been transformational for our joint customers. And maybe you could talk about a few of those customers, Chad.
Yeah, so we have hundreds of joint customers, many of whom are here in the room. And thank you, by the way, for being our customers. It means a ton to Pat, to me, to everybody. I love these stories because, A, they're face-meltingly awesome, but also because they're awesome because what it means for the customers. So a couple of these I'm just going to give a little shout out. So like the Allstate example was they built a new application that basically was the Good Hand Rescue app. So when you are an Allstate customer and you need assistance, it's a simple, easy mobile app that allows you to go in and say, I need help. Now, that doesn't sound like that big a deal, but it actually changed the world for their customers and for them because very quickly they were able to build an application that saves them tens of millions of dollars now, hundreds of millions in the future, because they can go, you know what, I don't need to send a truck. This person just needs gas, right? And if you're a customer of Allstate's, that actually means that when you do need a tow, it comes faster. So it's making things better for them and their customer.
Very good.
Another example, Ford. So Ford won a great award earlier in one of the earlier sessions about the Ford Pass app. Who here has a Ford? Raise your hand. Swarm of your shoulders.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a large number of you out there that have Fords. This is a mobile app that allows you, Ford Pass allows you to basically unlock your car, see gas, be able to figure out where there's parking, get some telemetry from your car. Again, being able to do that together with Pivotal and VMware helps Ford, helps their customers, moves the world forward, right? By the way, Ford, I am in the market for a Ford F-150, so just
come on, get on with the keynote. Okay.
So, but there's one on here that I think is my favorite.
Okay.
So the Bank of Jamaica.
The Bank of you got to be kidding me. That's your favorite one on here?
Yeah, and you know why? It's not because I have an offshore, banking interest or anything like that. It's because this is the story that's almost the opposite of the others. So this customer just wanted 100 containers. Not 1,000, not 50,000, just 100. You could run that on one super awesome 14G PowerEdge server. You could run that on one ESX host, right? But what they needed was they needed to be simple because they don't have like cloud native experts and DevOps practices and they're not a unicorn. They needed something simple. We got them up and running in PKS in 2 days, and their response in an email from the CIO was one word: wow.
Well, the customer response has been great, and the number of these customers, this has been their first NSX deployment as well, which is exciting, as we see it pulling forward some of the VMware technologies. So that's great. But, I've said any application. right? And we're really preparing customers to deal with today's workloads, the emerging container ones, but talk to us a little bit about those future technologies and how those are adopted as well.
Yeah, so, I love the idea. Any app, any device, any cloud, because it means that we have to support all of these abstractions. Let's be clear, the VM abstraction, just using it directly, is the majority of workloads today. It's the majority of workloads. And as you said, containers live on kernel mode VMs. That's the best way to deploy containerized stacks. So you can see that's basically going from the left over to the right into PaaS and into PKS. But in the same way that the R&D team started work on PKS long before we announced it, one thing that I think is so cool is the innovation that happens inside the engineering and R&D teams. I wish we could just bring everybody in all the time, right? They've been working.
Scary,
it's scary, but it's so cool. So we've been working for the last year on how do we tackle the next abstraction, which is serverless and functions. And there's some really cool intellectual property within Pivotal called Spring Riff, the dominant serverless or functions model for Spring. There's some really cool IP inside VMware called Dispatch, which is how do you make this work for different things. Google's working on some interesting things. You guys would not believe how the engineering teams inside the ecosystem crank together. And what you should expect, I'm not making an announcement, but what you should expect is that this functions and serverless abstraction will be the next thing that we develop. But notice one thing that matters for everybody here in this room. It runs on the platform that is your standard. It's the vSphere environment that you know and love. It's the SDDC stack that you know and love. And by the way, the best way to do that is on our HCI, VxRail and VxRack.
Well, that'll be the next thing up on the agenda for this morning, Chad. Now, what do you think? Has Chad done a reasonable impersonation of an application guy? Chad, thank you so much.
Thanks, bud.
Even the things that you thought would never change have changed, right? Chad is an application guy. This is really exciting. So let's dig into this idea of the any cloud, private, public, and hybrid cloud. And at the heart of that, for us has been virtual SAN, and we've been working on virtual SAN to make it this rock-hard cloud infrastructure building block. And we've then worked with the hardware industry to make virtual SAN-ready nodes. And with this, we see extraordinary momentum with Dell EMC and the vSAN-ready node ecosystem. And we've then taken that award-winning 14G platform and turned it into VxRail. And VxRail, right, building on the 14G platforms, is now delivering extraordinary momentum. But our vision is even broader, because we take VxRails, and our strategy is that they will scale into racks, and that we'll be able to compose racks out of Rails. And tomorrow, just a little teaser, Jeff Clark tomorrow morning is going to announce a next generation platform in the area of modular and blade servers. And we're going to support that as well in a common rail and rack strategy. But it's not just the hardware components, it's delivering a consistent operational environment integrated across compute, network, storage, and management. And this is the VMware Cloud Foundation. And this common environment, and this is the strategy that we're following from vSAN to vSAN ready to VxRail to VxRack with a consistent operational and management environment across all of them. And it also scales into the public cloud. And with that, VMware Cloud Foundation available from a broad range of our cloud partners. The same VMware Cloud Foundation available on-premise on award-winning hardware and an appliance form, and extending into the cloud. And our over 4,000 VMware cloud-provided partners, many of them then now running that same VMware Cloud Foundation. We've seen an extraordinary pace of adoption for vSAN. Today, over 10,000 customers on the #1 product in the industry, adopted by over half the Fortune 500. A couple of examples on here, one that I particularly like, Morgan Stanley. One of the most important, largest financial services institution, and they've built one of the largest vSAN deployments in the world. Another customer, Convergys, a world leader in experience outsourcing, a huge focus on VxRail to get more throughput and capacity. And they've successfully cut their data center footprint and savings and cost savings. Woolworth in Australia, already using vSAN for the remote office, branch office sites, cost-effective way to scale, and now choosing to scale into VxRack SDDC. And Medtronic, a leader in medical device innovation. I think they're our largest VxRack deployment today. Robust pace of adoption across all form factors, from vSAN ready to VxRail to VxRack. But the next piece of this is to scale into the true hybrid cloud. And our strategy in this area is to provide this consistent experience from the private cloud into a broad range of public cloud providers. And with this common infrastructure gives a unique hybrid experience where you literally don't know nor care sometimes exactly where your workload is running, because you can seamlessly scale into and out of a broad range of public cloud environments. But we also realize that many of our customers are using native services on Azure, Amazon, or Google Cloud. And in those environments, we still provide consistent operations, common management, common networking, which we'll talk about a little bit later this morning. We have a unique model where we embrace all clouds and we enable a consistent SaaS-based services to provide consistent operations on all public cloud environments. Now, I want to give you a glimpse into the cloud environments and maybe just a fun view of how these worlds might be managed in the future. And to help me with this, it's my pleasure to welcome on stage Arjun Dubey, senior member of the technical staff at VMware. So Arjun, please join us on stage.
Hi, Pat.
Arjun, very good. So we're going to do a virtual reality management demonstration?
That's right. We're going to take a journey into a virtual customer data center. So let me get you all geared up, and I'll walk you through it.
OK, let me put this down here. And that was a pretty cool demo this morning in Michael's keynote, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Wonderful
that was
stuff.
impressive. So this one's a little bit different, isn't it?
It's a little bit different,
A little bit different. OK, now, I'm not going to look dorky like some people do when they put these on, am I?
Absolutely not, Pat.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I
look
trust
awesome.
you, OK? OK, so let's go. We're going into the virtual cloud here. Ooh, this is pretty cool. I'm seeing my virtual data center.
Give you your virtual hands.
OK, great. Let me switch them around like this. All right. Hey, what do you think, folks? We made it to the virtual cloud.
That's right. So we're standing in a customer data center that's in the midst of a transformation. They're looking to add capacity on-premise and also address their expansion goals globally.
Oh, very good. Well, hey, it looks like everything's, I see these systems here, but almost everything's at capacity already. Full CPUs, memory storage.
No problem, Pat. This customer has already ordered some brand new VxRail appliances. So let's pull up our virtual vCenter console and have them
Okay.
delivered.
OK. OK, now help me here.
Pull the trigger,
Which?
the trigger button here.
OK. Oh, there we go. Oh, there. Whoa. Here we go. Very good. So this is my brand new VxRail environment. Woo, it looks pretty cool.
Why don't we take a look at some of the software that made it so easy to deploy?
OK.
First up, we've got the VxRail Manager, jointly developed by Dell EMC and VMware, that builds automation, lifecycle management, and serviceability into every appliance.
OK, what else do we got on here?
We've got the same VMware tools that you know and love, vCenter, vSphere, and vSAN, so there's almost no learning curve when you pick up one of these things.
OK.
This customer is also running the full VMware SDDC. That means VMware vRealize and NSX, following the VMware Validated Designs reference architecture.
Very good. So this customer, he's running the full VMware SDDC environment, automation, networking. All right, I love this customer.
Yeah, why don't we take a look under the hood and see what kind of hardware we've got?
OK. Oh, gosh.
Careful.
I'm a hardware guy. I love this, Arjun.
So what we've got here is the latest VxRail appliance, which is based on the PowerEdge 14G. It's got the new Intel CPUs with a higher core count and an all-flash SSD configuration, which together with vSAN gives you twice the IOPS over the previous generation of hardware.
All right, very good. So I like this hardware. This is looking pretty good here, Arjun.
Yeah, why don't we see how much it can handle? Let's enable vMotion and let DRS do its thing.
Okay, let's give this a whirl. Okay, so vMotion, I'm decreasing the load on my other systems in the data center. That's very good. And look, my new 14G VxRail is capable of running a lot more workloads, and I see my storage and my virtual machines on here. This is looking pretty good, Arjun.
Not only that, this customer is using EMC data protection, so we can protect these VMs and their data with a click of a button from vCenter.
Okay, so let's see here. So this turns on data protection here.
There we go.
Okay, very good. So now they're protected.
Why don't we take a closer look at some of these protected VMs?
Okay.
So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Shall we see how resilient these VMs really are?
Yeah, okay. Throw it away
you can
there.
do better than that, Pat.
Hey, I can't turn it off. Let's try that again. Hey, they keep coming back. This is like playing whack-a-mole. Boy, that data protection stuff really works here. Okay, I give up. I can't win.
So it looks like we've solved the customer's needs on-premise, but we still need to help them expand into Europe.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Why don't we take a look at the public cloud options outside the data center and see how we can enable them to use them?
Okay, so let's see what we have in the public cloud. Ah, look at this. We made it to the public cloud. All right. So let's see. We have a full range of cloud partners that were here. You know, IBM, since we had launched that 2 years ago, incredible partner. And the VMware Cloud on AWS, boy, great momentum for that. OVH in Europe and coming to the US. Rackspace, one of the early innovators and great partner. VirtuStream, mission-critical environments is their forte. All right, and Fujitsu in Asia, and CenturyLink. Okay, this is all looking pretty good, Arjun. So which one are we going to use?
So this customer has a strategic relationship with Dell and IBM.
Okay.
So why don't we use the IBM cloud so they get that consistent operations worldwide?
So shall we see what we can do about...
Yeah, let's take a look at the regions and see which data center would serve the customer needs the best.
Okay. UK, Frankfurt. Yeah, let's go to UK.
Sounds good, Pat. You're the boss.
Okay. So and now what do I do?
Let's go back to the cloud and start doing some vMotions.
Okay. So like this one here?
Well, let's see it. What do you guys think? How would we vMotion a VM in virtual reality? I think you should toss it.
Okay, let's try giving it a throw here. Oh,
wow,
we made
good
it to
job.
the cloud. That was pretty good. Let's do another one. That's fun.
Oh my God, you're like Kobe Bryant.
Okay, we're pretty good. But you know, I got a lot of VMs here, Arjun. You know, can we do this any faster?
Absolutely, Pat. We can use NSX Hybrid Connect to create a secure, WAN-optimized interconnect between this data center and the public cloud, and then seamlessly bulk migrate all of these VMs.
Okay, so now we're starting NSX Hybrid Cloud Connect. So it's set up a network connection. It's compressing the VMs, and we're doing bulk migration into the public cloud. This is impressive. Look at that. And I was able to take and essentially lift up a whole set of my applications to the public cloud. This is incredible, Arjun. Let's get rid of a few more of these. Okay. Okay.
I think, Pat, we need to get back to the real world and finish our keynote.
Oh, you're such a spoil sport. Well, I love this virtual cloud. Thank you so much, Arjun.
Thank you, Pat.
I'll give these back to you here. What do you think? So, Arjun, this is great. You know, we saw the virtual hybrid cloud through our VR experience. We saw the power of next generation VxRail, right? We saw DR capabilities. We were able to migrate to the public cloud, demonstrate a true hybrid cloud experience. This has been incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Arjun, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.
Well, that was fun. You all got to get your goggles on sometime and give it a try. So last but definitely not least, I wanted to take a look at networking and security. And so much of what we just saw was enabled by the underlying networking fabric that is only possible given the innovations that we've done in software networking. And as we think about this environment, the world has changed dramatically in the last 15 years, right? 3 big architectural shifts in how we run apps and connect users with that critical data. Data center networking. It was used to nicely be contained inside the walls of the castle. It was easy to see who was buying, who was deploying, who was using, and where the data was flowing. The world has quickly blown apart. There is no longer this nice physical boundary to control and firewall. Cloud networking also takes advantage of new economic model for infrastructure. And anyone with a credit card can now access cloud-based infrastructure and services. And the edge is the new hotbed for business innovation. And the network underlies IoT and edge. Today, it's often said that data is the new oil. And as data centers have blown apart, we've moved from data centers to centers of data, which is putting huge pressure on the network. The network of 20 years ago was this picture of a physical, port-oriented boundaries, and we simply reached an inflection point where, do I build a data center network to address expansion and reaching to the edge, or do I build a flexible, programmable cloud network to drive future innovation? And of course, the answer is I need to do both. And bringing those two worlds together, it's programmable and flexible to support the needs of the digital business, context-aware, using AI and machine learning, built for infinite scale, but no longer limited by box or boundaries. Intrinsic security, cloud managed and delivered literally everywhere, consumed as a service, and tightly coupled with many of the telco service provider networks. Above all, a software-driven world that enables consistency and elasticity. This is what we call the virtual cloud network. This is the VMware vision for the future of networking, a ubiquitous software layer from data center to cloud to edge, empowering you to connect secure apps and data regardless of where they might reside, embedding security directly into the platform and enabling visibility, control, and automation. And as part of the virtual cloud network, today we're announcing new capabilities that are for the first time being made available. Today, Azure and the native NSX capabilities are available for the Azure platform as well. And I love this quote from Albert from Microsoft and how they're embracing and seeing the value of this consistent networking environment. And we're thrilled to have Azure Cloud as our next partner in our NSX virtual cloud network journey. The virtual cloud network enables these 3 things: a consistent cloud networking fabric, security that is architected in, and all of it delivered in software. And because it's in software, it's inherently programmable and scalable. And we've been working hard on many aspects of this. And our most recent acquisition, VeloCloud by SD-WAN by VeloCloud, over the last 4 years, VeloCloud has emerged as the clear leader in software-defined wide area network, a transformational approach to simplify branch and office networking and to optimize apps and performance. On the order of 1/3 of your IT budget is being consumed in communications cost. And of that, a huge portion is going to fixed networks like MPLS. SD-WAN changes that in a dramatic way. It gives a huge opportunity to save money, improve user experience, refactor what's in the branch, and allowing you to improve security. All of these come together, a dramatic opportunity to use SD-WAN to transform your communications and your branch environments. We've been on the journey of transforming network and security now for almost a decade. VMware's first innovation in this area was almost 10 years ago with the vSphere distributed switch. Little did we realize that that simple innovation was beginning a long and wonderful journey. 5 years ago, we acquired Nicira. And in 2012, you can think of this as the shot heard round the world. The networking world is about to change in a fundamental way. And out of Nicira came NSX, and we combined that with our management, automation, right, our visibility tools with network insights, and the network began a pace of innovation as it hadn't seen in decades. Next, we said reinvent security. The network layer gives us a new ability to see and deliver things like microsegmentation. And today, we're extending that into the virtual machine layer and into the container. And with today's announcement, building the virtual cloud network, bringing capabilities like NSX Hybrid Connect, which we just demonstrated as part of our virtual reality demonstration. This ability to build a tunnel and migrate and truly operate between cloud worlds in a hybrid fashion, bringing NSX SD-WAN by VeloCloud into the marketplace, and putting all of this together into a consistent architecture. Putting all these pieces together is the virtual cloud network. VMware NSX, expanding what we're doing in the data center, into the branch and the edge, bringing intrinsic security, combining that with this ability to connect to clouds natively with NSX Cloud, and building this hybrid layer through NSX Hybrid Connect, providing network insights as well as management and automation. And each piece of this is being done in partnership with the Dell Technologies family. Dell and their network are combining and selling that as integrated, validated designs with NSX Data Center. Dell hardware is the solution that we're bringing into the branch. SecureWorks is operationalized and offering App Defense as a service. With VirtuStream, they're taking advantage of NSX Cloud, as well as on the path to deliver NSX Hybrid Connect services. Every aspect of our strategy and partnership is made better as a part of the Dell Technologies family. We're also seeing this vision as being rapidly embraced by the telco service providers, and they're playing a critical role in providing the virtual cloud network into the marketplace at scale. And it's my pleasure this morning to have two leaders from the telecommunications industry here with me on stage. Please join me in welcoming Stephen Massault of Swisscom and Jim Fagan of Telstra. Jim? Hey, Stephen. How are you? Great. Jim, why don't you come on this side? There you go. Very good. Thank you. So, very good. Telstra from down under and, Swisscom. It's just a great pleasure to have both of you on stage with us today. And, let's start with Swisscom. So Stephen, at Swisscom, you're doing some amazing things with NSX, both internal as well as presenting it as services to your customers. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, of course. Pleasure. So Swisscom, we're the largest telecom and service provider in Switzerland, and we offer telco and IT service to our customers.
Sort of home field advantage there in Switzerland.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, sure. And we have been innovating from the beginning of the cloud. So SDN concepts in our data center are what we have been doing for a couple of years, integrating them in different platforms that we have deployed. And recently, when we decided to revamp our whole cloud, we onboarded on this SEC concept for Dell Technologies. And part of that is NSX. And NSX is one of these key technologies that enables us to deliver service to our customers. And we want to be this managed services provider. And what NSX offers us is not only better uses of resources, but also a cloud-like experience with self-service, automation of manual tasks, introducing new concepts like infrastructure as code, and most important for us, security, compliancy, by adding firewalling, microsegmentation, and so forth. So for us, it's key in delivering service to our customers and internally.
Yeah, and of course, Swiss customers, Swiss banks, obviously security, service quality, absolutely critical for your market.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been a whole lot of fun, your new enterprise cloud offering. It's really been great to be partnering with you in that way. Very good. So Jim, maybe turning to you a little bit. SD-WAN has been a huge focus for Telstra, and talk to us a little bit about how that fits into your overall strategy.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thanks, Pat. I'd like to do that. So Telstra is the largest service provider carrier in Australia.
Yep.
We also
operate
operate
advantage again, right? You own that market down there.
We also operate the largest network in Asia Pacific and into the US. So obviously SD-WAN and how we connect in today's cloud and digital world is very important. I know you spoke earlier about people being the heart of digital transformation, which is absolutely right. But from a technology standpoint, at Telstra, we actually look at the network as the heart of digital transformation. So our strategy is to embrace and aggressively adopt software-defined networking so we can actually provide innovative solutions to our customers on that digital journey. So with our fully automated software-defined Telstra programmable network, we actually allow customers to interconnect data centers and public clouds around the globe, basically provision bandwidth on demand that's private, secure, and paid down by the hour. And so what we did with our SD-WAN strategy, and really where NSX and VeloCloud fit in, was to actually allow us to extend that capability to our customers' edge into the branch. So when you actually combine the NSX SD-WAN with the Telstra programmable network, what we feel is that we're delivering the network of the future for our customers today, providing the speed, resiliency, cost performance, security, and global reach that they need to operate and be successful in today's digital world. And NSX SD-WAN really is a fantastic complement to our strategy and also augments the great relationship that Telstra and VMware have had in partnership over the years.
Yeah, that certainly is the case. And you guys have been such great partners in so many different dimensions for us. And extending that with VeloCloud, boy, we're thrilled by what you're going to be able to do, right? Over SD-WAN and to the edge. Hey, Stephen, maybe turning back to you a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about the overall tech vision of Swisscom and how you see this idea of the virtual cloud network fitting into that strategy.
Yeah, great question. So for us, there are two key things that determine this vision. So first of all, we see that customers want to choose their own environment, their own cloud, and run services in the best infrastructure possible. That's one. The second one is clearly the emerging new technologies like containers, Cloud Foundry, Kubernetes, serverless. All these.
You guys have been early partners in those technologies. That's been great.
Absolutely, yeah. And all these things need to come together, and our vision, and we're a network operator, so for us that's the center of the universe, of course. We see the network as the place where we can implement all these controls. So it's no longer about just doing networking, transporting data, but it's connecting systems, locations, devices, and applications in order to deliver the right information in the right place. And the network is the place where we will bring this all together. So for us, and we have been working with you, our team, for the last 2 years on these concepts, we are already doing container networking on the next level. We're already implementing this in production. We're close. We're very close.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, and so this all fits into our managed services strategy that in the end, the customer can consume a service from any place, anywhere, and bring that to their employees, to their customers, wherever they want to have it.
Well, very much. That's the virtual cloud network vision.
Absolutely.
You guys are core. Hey, Jim, maybe one last question before we wrap up here. Great. Take a view into the future of network innovation, and where are things going?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really exciting time because I think it's safe to say that as we've evolved into cloud and digitization, the network's really been the roadblock and been behind. And we've seen with software-defined technology and SD-WAN how that's really starting to catch up. And I think we've only scratched the surface from both our use cases as well as the implementation. So what I'm looking in the future is some aggressive adoption of SD-WAN, interconnections between, again, private and public clouds, those seamless architectures you were speaking of earlier. But really, to me also, it's the use cases. I think a lot of people and customers are using it right now more for resiliency and costs, which, by the way, it's great for. But I think in the next 2 years, you're really going to see people start to focus on the application and how they get the application to drive the network. And when you get to that network as a service point, that's where you truly get to end-to-end cloud computing, and from a metrics and how you're driving it, and then more importantly, for the technologies of the future, how you extend that out to the edge and 5G and enable IoT.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and the partnerships with Telstra, Swisscom, you guys have just been incredible across our technology stack, across the Dell Technologies family overall. Thank you so much for joining us on stage today.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate
Jim, Stephen, thank you so much. So, we've taken this apart in our time together today. Any app, any device, any cloud. And for that, we've seen that tremendous innovation is happening at every layer in this picture. And it's a huge opportunity for IT professionals like you to be able to navigate through all of this disruption and change and to deliver huge business value as a result. Technology is breaking out of tech. Technology is breaking into every business and every aspect. You know, a short 38-year career in technology, and I'll tell you, I have never been as fired up as I am now because we are impacting businesses, humanity across the globe as never before. This is our opportunity. It's never been a better time to work in technology. And our commitment to you is, simply put, we want to help you realize what's possible. And there is no question that VMware and Dell are better together. We want to drive your company's business transformation. We want to partner with you as never before, and ultimately help you embrace this future world and realize what's possible. Thank you very much.